Okay. So, listening to the sound of the bell, we return to our true home in the present moment. And if you choose, bringing the palms together at the heart. May we and all beings be happy and free. May we and all beings transform our suffering. May we and all beings rejoice in all joys. May we and all beings be at peace, awakening to the truth of who we are, infinite light, infinite love, infinite life. Okay. So, in a moment, we'll begin our sitting meditation practice. We'll be sitting for around 20 to 25 minutes, and it will be there'll be some guidance throughout, with definitely some time to be on your own in your practice, but there will be guidance. So, as we begin meditation, again, we will listen to the sound of the bell. Listening to the sound of the bell is a way to become mindful. So if you're new to meditation, what we're doing is actually just returning to the present. We're placing our attention in the living experience in the here and now. And we may choose an object like our breathing or our body. There's different objects of meditation or the object of mindfulness. But the bell is an important tool in our tradition, where when we hear the sound of the bell, you can follow that sound into the present moment. It's a way to become present. So we'll listen to 3 sounds of the bell, followed by the meditation instruction. So please enjoy. So, finding a posture that's comfortable. You can be seated, you can be standing, you can be laying down. If you're laying down, the recommendation is to maybe keep your eyes open or have a strong intention to remain alert so you don't fall asleep. If you're sitting, find a position where your spine can be upright and stable, with the neck in line with the spine. It can be useful to imagine a thread emerging from the top of the head, pulling gently upwards to align the spine. And the hands can be in the lap, on the thighs, in a traditional posture of one palm inside of the other. Really just anywhere that's comfortable. You might take a moment to rock on your pelvis as if the spine is finding its balance in the pelvis. And when you find a place that feels balanced and stable, it's a great place to rest. The eyes can be closed, can make it easier sometimes. They can also be open, gently open, with a soft gaze, not a strong gaze on any particular object. And now the invitation is to take a few deep and intentional breaths, following the breathing in and out of the body. On the exhale, releasing any obvious tension that is calling out to be released. Really settling into the body, settling into the posture. And now releasing all control of the breathing, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm, whatever it might be. Arriving with a gentle attention on the sensations of the breathing as they manifest throughout the body. Breathing in, aware of breathing in. Breathing out, aware of breathing out. Breathing in, aware of the body. Breathing out, calming the body. If the mind wanders to thoughts, as it does, it's no problem. Simply notice and gently return the attention back to the breathing and the body. Perhaps take a moment to check in with the tone of the mind, the attitude that is present, and see if that attitude can soften into a mind of non-judgment, of acceptance and openness. And if there's any challenge or difficulty arising in the experience, perhaps also bringing compassion. non-judgmental, compassionate awareness. Again and again, bringing attention back to the breathing and the body. If thoughts seem particularly strong or distracting, there's no need to argue with them or try to suppress them. It can be sometimes useful to notice the feeling tone associated with the thought, releasing the content of the thinking, releasing the story, and following the energy of the thought back to the body. Even the distraction can bring us back into the body. And allow the breathing and the awareness to soften that energy and naturally dissipate it through the body. you might take a moment to again scan the awareness throughout the body, seeing what's present now. And if there's anything that could be released, any way there could be softening throughout the field of the body and calming through the mind and the posture, arriving more thoroughly in the present moment. And as the mind and the body begin to calm, becomes clearer, and the natural qualities of the heart are allowed to emerge, the natural abundance of the heart, the kindness, the openness, has more space. So for the remainder of the meditation, we'll be turning our attention to an extended loving kindness contemplation and practice, kindness and compassion towards ourselves and others, towards all beings. And I'll begin with the traditional reading of some of the Metta Sutta, the Loving Kindness Sutra. And as you listen, remain present with the breath and the body. The text that's being read is not a commandment or a demand. These are instructions for practice, how to practice loving kindness. You can just let them wash through you, and perhaps from your heart see if you can resonate some of these qualities or imagine embodying and resonating with some of these qualities. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, the medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down. Free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. And resting in this sublime abiding of loving kindness and compassion, you might imagine this kindness as a light or warmth radiating from the center of your being, filling your own body first, your own mind. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. And using the rhythm of the breath, you can send this light, this warmth, this love and kindness and compassion outwards, expanding out to all beings or to specific beings, noticing where the mind goes, wherever it's needed. Radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. This is said to be the sublime abiding. Thank you for your practice. We'll take a few minutes to stretch the legs if that's necessary, or to move the body, or to stay right where you are as you choose. The bell does not signify the end of our practice, rather a reminder to continue returning to mindful awareness. In a few moments, I'll be offering a talk, and after the talk, we'll have some time for discussion. Okay, so thank you for your practice. Oh, looks like there's some people missing. We'll wait a moment. There we go. You're back. Thank you so much for your practice. As someone said earlier during the check-ins, it really is special that we can practice together and not just alone. So thank you. Today's talk is called Living with an Open Heart, and it's inspired by a teacher that I really appreciate, whose name is Ajahn Sushito, and he is a monk. I'm not exactly sure where he's based. He travels around quite a bit, but I listen to his talks quite often. And this is very heavily drawn from his teaching. So I'd like to take a moment to thank and honor not only this teacher, but all of my teachers and all of our teachers. And I think it's important that regardless of our tradition or anything else, that we remember that all of the wisdom we have has been passed on from people's kindness to us. So thank you. So we're going to begin. In the last couple of weeks, there's been a theme that's come up in some of the gatherings, and that's the 5 remembrances. And the 5 remembrances are kind of contemplations to remind ourselves about the nature of the phenomenal world that we're in, so that we can relate with it with wisdom. So I'll just read through them to begin. The 5 remembrances, and as I read them, what I invite you to do is to really open and let them resonate, and see what comes up for you when you hear them, because the way that you relate to these things really is an indicator of some of the energy that really infuses all of our lives, whether we're aware of it or not. So the first remembrance: I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. That's especially for the birthday boy over there. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground upon which I stand. So that's our baseline contemplation to begin with. So let's talk about the first four. The first four are closely related to this idea of dukkha, or unsatisfactoriness, that there's an unsatisfactoriness to our experience. Everything's unstable, everything's changing. Pleasant arises, and we like it, and then it goes away, and unpleasant arises, and we don't like it so much. And then there's these neutral feelings where we're kind of, I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know. Maybe I don't even notice it. But this pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feeling tones, they just keep coming. They keep cycling through, and they're kind of unreliable. They keep changing. Even things that we like, they decay, they fall apart. And to put it really succinctly, we don't win. We don't win. There's no way to win. And it's really interesting to notice that we can get temporary security, temporary pleasure, temporary success, but because it changes, if we're playing life to win or to keep from losing, it's pretty stressful, because winning and losing are these elements that they're not stable. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. So if you spend your entire life trying not to lose and trying to win, it gets really, really exhausting, because things are changing. So, excuse me, I've got something itchy on my nose. This is, the unsatisfactoriness of nose itches. So on that theme, contemplate for a minute. And when I say contemplate, I really mean this without any judgment. This non-judgmental and compassionate awareness is what we're cultivating. So contemplate for a moment some of your important goals from the past, things that were really, really important to you. Things like possessions you wanted, situations that you wanted arranged in a certain way, some achievement, some accumulation, something you really strove after, a degree, a relationship, a job, anything with this the kind of house with a white picket fence quality that's going to make you safe and secure and happy forever. Pick one of those. Just if you've drifted over a few of them, see if there's one that really stands out in the past. How long did that attainment actually bring you happiness? Really consider. And was that happiness steady and stable? Or did you continue to experience other ups and downs in life after? Just a contemplation. And now consider, again, without any judgment, ways you're currently striving after something, wanting things a certain way, and believing that it's only when this stuff is arranged exactly the way you want it, you'll finally be happy. Just consider one thing. And now really ask yourself, if you were to attain that, how long do you think that attainment could actually bring you a sustained feeling of happiness? Will it be steady and stable? Or do you think you'll also keep having a lot of ups and downs? And now consider this attainment 100 years from now. And consider yourself 100 years from now. And with this contemplation, we're starting to get a sense of how things are with conditioned phenomena, things that have form and substance and arising as perceptions, as experiences. That they're impermanent, they change, and not only do they change, but we change. The things we want, the things that our perspective, what we believe is going to make us happy, also changes. It's changing all the time. We just really, really often don't catch on to this reality. We really don't catch it. So we keep pursuing the same project, and it's not that these phenomena or these attainments or these things that we want are bad. It's not that they're wrong. It's not about that at all. Provisionally, they can be really useful. It can be really useful to have a shelter to live in. It can be really useful to have a companion to share your life. It can be really useful to have money or something like that. Having a good reputation can be useful. But they're not the source of lasting happiness. They're provisional, they're temporary. And what if we don't get them? What if we don't get those things? Does that mean we're doomed to unhappiness? Is happiness really dependent on those things as much as we believe it is? Contemplating things like this, it can be really easy. Contemplating the contemplation you did on attainments and getting things is one level, but contemplating those 5 remembrances, I'm going to get old, I'm going to die, I'm going to get sick. It's really, really super easy to get really nihilistic really fast with those type of thoughts. Nothing matters, what's the point? And this is unfortunately really common. I've fallen into this trap. But realizing those things really doesn't need to guide us in that direction. It's really optional. In fact, the realization of the unsatisfactory nature, or the changing nature of things, is actually a key out of suffering. It shows us where we're misguided in our methods for being happy, and it opens a whole other door for us to stop trying to get happy in ways that don't work. So it's a reorientation of view. You may have heard right view. There's a reorientation of view that can happen in order to get ourselves out of the situation. So let's see. Going back to the thing that you strive after, let's go back here. The thing that you're currently striving after, bring that to mind again. Without judgment. It's okay. It's okay that we have things we want. It's really okay. Just ask yourself, if I attain this thing, this situation, this circumstance, what will I experience? Okay. If the answer to that question is another thing with a form and a substance, ask the same question again about that thing. When I get that thing or that circumstance, what will I experience? And follow that until you get to something that doesn't have a material form. It's a certain quality of experience that we're after when we're chasing material conditions. Some common qualities that we're really chasing are ease, joy, safety, connection, appreciation, love, acceptance, peace. That's what's underneath a lot of the things that we strive after. It's not about the thing, it's about a quality of experience. And that is a really useful thing to realize, that can save us a lot of running around chasing things. We're going about things backwards a lot of the time. We're trying to get conditions in order to feel the feeling instead of starting at the source. So why not just go directly to the source, which is the heart? With meditation, we hear the word mind a lot as the translation of the word chitta. And it is an accurate translation as long as you understand that mind isn't just the intellect and the thinking capacity. Chitta is a word that really can be translated as heart. It includes the qualities of the heart and mind, as we've talked about before here. And what are the qualities of an open heart? So the qualities of an open heart, as we explored in the meditation, are loving kindness and compassion, as well as joy and equanimity. And these are the four divine abodes or divine dwellings or sublime abidings, the Brahma Viharas. These are, in other words, when the heart is cleared of obstruction, usually obstruction that's been created through mental concepts and kind of silly ideas that we grab onto. These are the natural qualities of the heart or the heart mind. This is what radiates through the mind. These qualities are always there. They're just covered. They're a part of a basic goodness that can be uncovered. A fundamental quality to all of these elements, the unifying quality, is a sense of empathy, of availability to being in touch, to being touched by life, to be related, a relationship, a relatedness to what's happening. It's an openness. When we say open heart, what do we mean by open? It means open to whatever's happening. It's opening instead of closing. So what gets in the way of this openness? There's things that get in the way. And we need to look at the things that make the heart contract. And there's two main things that the heart contracts around, and that's pleasant and unpleasant. So when there's a pleasant experience arising, the heart contracts by clinging, and it clings to it, wants to maintain it. And if there's an unpleasant feeling, the heart contracts by guarding or protecting or closing. It's just kind of an instinctual impulse that happens. And when the heart contracts, our perception becomes distorted. And the more distorted our perception is, the more the heart contracts. And there's kind of a vicious cycle that happens. So our views of ourself and others start to become static and fixed. Okay, we start experiencing a lot of concepts and images. When the heart's contracting, it's because it has a belief that there's a certain thing, especially a separate thing over there that we need or we don't want, that's other than us. So we get into these fixed ideas. We lose touch with reality. We lose sensitivity. We get lost in these mental pictures and ideas, and we can't respond with actual sensitivity to what's actually happening. So examples of that are characterizing people in a fixed way. There's good people and there's bad people. These are ideas. These ideas get in the way of sensitivity to actually being with what's actually there. We have an idea that we're projecting, and it filters what we're perceiving. At worst, it turns into dehumanizing people. It's happening around the world in certain places, dehumanizing the other or the enemy, creating monsters out of people. So that's one way that contraction of the heart creates these fixed concepts. Another way is sometimes the way that we end up living, which can become really static and fixed and mechanical, like automatic ways of living. Things that you see in this sense are only looking at the result. Sometimes we hear about it as only thinking about the bottom line. So we have a really fixed sense of what success looks like, of what our goal that's going to make us happy looks like, and we call it the bottom line. And everything else we become numb to. We're not sensitive to the costs of getting to the bottom line, getting the job done without any sympathetic regard for what living human beings experience in order to arrive at that. And this can be at the scale of a mega corporation, or it can be at the scale of your relationship with your brother. It can really be at all levels of experience, when getting things done the right way gets in the way of being sensitive to the fact that there's people here that have feelings, and are actually quite sensitive, because that's also why the heart contracts, because the open heart feels a lot, and it's really vulnerable to have an open heart because you feel a lot. So when there is hostility or judgment or difficult, unpleasant energies around, we feel that. So it's natural that we have anxiety. It's natural that we contract. It's not a judgment on anyone that we contract. We live in a fairly precarious state from the moment we're born and all through our lives. So there's no judgment that we do this. But if the heart closing becomes a really, really strong habit, and we don't know how to open again, it really shuts ourselves off to other people. It shuts ourselves off to life in general. It even shuts ourselves off to ourselves. We become robotic. We become basically, imagine a completely automated robot that's at the command of these compulsive programs of escaping unpleasant and attaining pleasant. Kind of sounds like the foundation of a consumer society. But that's what happens when we close down a lot. So what do we do? How do we practice? How do we work with it? How do we actually keep the heart open? So meditation, of course, is what we do here. And as I said before, meditation, main component is the willingness to feel and to be present. So opening to the felt experience of being alive. There is a feeling tone associated with every experience we have, every thought we have, everything we experience has a tone, and it manifests in the field of the body. Usually we're lost in our thoughts because our thoughts, our thinking tries to manage and control the feeling tones. Okay? It creates stories, it creates strategies, it creates really fixed concepts about me, about you, about everybody else, about the way the world is. But all of this stuff is a way to kind of protect against the feeling, or to manage the feeling. So we can go back to the body, because the body doesn't do this. The body doesn't proliferate all of these concepts. The body is just sensate experience. And returning to that sensate experience can ground those energies. The mind is not going to ground the energy. The mind is going to stir it up with more and more and more stuff that triggers the energy. But the body can ground it. And as there's a dissipation of these energies, there's a space that opens. When you can breathe a little easier, there's more space. There's more calm. And that's the space where the heart opens. That's where the heart opens. And that's where the loving kindness emerges, where the compassion emerges, where the joy emerges, where a wise equanimity emerges. It's really quite backwards to how we've been taught to think and problem solve our way through our difficult feelings. There's another way, and it's just by being present. It's just the mindfulness of the present moment, and staying with the sensations without proliferating a bunch of thoughts about it. So for meditation, for people who are meditating and think that the idea is to stop the thinking or to make the thoughts quiet down, this is really, really important to realize, is that you can't wrestle the thoughts down. When you calm the energies that are driving the thoughts will calm down on their own. If you address the energy that's underneath the compulsive thinking, the thoughts will calm down. But you can't, what is it? This is a phrase from AA, from Alcoholics Anonymous. Someone I've heard this, someone said, you can't think your way out of a thinking problem. So this is kind of going back to that idea. So the first thing we can do, of course, is to meditate in this way, bring mindfulness in this way to our experience. And then in day-to-day life, just staying alert as fixed ideas arise in your perceptions, fixed ideas about who I am, I'm this way, they're that way, that's just how it is, and really sit with these and look at the energy that's underneath those ideas, and release them if you can. Apply that loving kindness and compassion. So, let's see. So, summarizing, kind of wrapping it up like into a summary, these heart qualities, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, these are the keys to release ourselves from the unsatisfactoriness of trying to get something out of the world, trying to get something. And it lets us win in a way we didn't realize we could win. It lets us win in a no-win situation. We're in a no-win situation. We know where this trip is going, but this lets us win. And equanimity in particular is what lets us win. And it's kind of this paradox: by accepting the no-win situation with an open heart that's really ready to be there and feel it, that's the win. It takes out the idea of winning and losing. It just stays open. It's unbiased. It removes the idea of winning or losing, and that's how we win ultimately, is by removing that idea, that concept. Let's see. Ways that we do this naturally. You'll see that we do this actually. This isn't something we need to strive for. We do it kind of all the time. Examples are, you have a friend who's having a hard time and you send them a card, right? There's a sensitivity to someone else, and the heart opens and it expresses itself. You know, your card isn't going to make their problem any better at all. But there's a sensitivity, there's a kindness in it. You know, you have a friend or a relative who's in the hospital, and you get a bunch of flowers and you go bring it to them and you sit with them. That's not going to heal their cancer. But there's something deeper going on in those moments. And I would suggest that those are some of the more meaningful moments of our lives. When we're out of this mechanized way of looking, problem solving, fixing things, getting things done, when we actually are with someone in the reality of what life is. Hey, we have ups and downs, and I'm here with you, and I'm going to feel this with you, and you're not alone. It's a connecting energy. The open heart is a connecting energy, or a recognition of our connection. It's not doing the connecting. It's recognizing the connection that we don't recognize a lot of the time, thinking that we're so separate. And that's what brings us to the fifth remembrance. So the first four are what our nature: to grow old, have ill health, to die, and that things change, and that we will be separated from the forms that we're attached to. But the fifth one, my actions are my only true belongings. And the last part of it, my actions are the ground upon which I stand. And I'd like to suggest that the actions that are most important are the actions that come from an open heart. It's these expressions of kindness, of compassion, of having joy in someone else's good moments, in their joy, and having the wisdom of equanimity to just see, hey, this is how it is, and I'm gonna stay open. It's these actions that create the secure foundation for our lives. That's the ground upon which we stand, is these wholesome energies. So yeah, in light of that, we can reconsider again these things that we want to attain. You might recognize that some of these formal goals aren't maybe necessary for you. They might not fit once you process this stuff, and some of them might. There's not a reason to get rid of our goals or to get rid of the things that we want in life. What might be needed is just a reorientation of that viewpoint. Rather than chase after the attainment in order to arrive at these formless experiences, you can actually begin with a sensitivity to your own life and opening and allowing these energies to arise. And then those energies are the compass that you use to move towards your goals. It creates a purpose and a meaning to your actions rather than I'm empty and I need to get full by achieving something or getting something. So in that way, I think we can experience what's truly meaningful in life a lot more often. And in no small degree, this is a real liberation from the unsatisfactoriness of our worldly situation. The open heart, in a really condensed summary, I'd say that the open heart is also the awakened heart. So may all beings be happy, may all beings be well, may all beings be safe, and may all beings be peaceful. Thank you very much. So yeah, thanks for listening. Your patience to sit and listen to me talk so often is amazing to me. Thank you very much. And I'm going to pause the recording so that we can have some discussion. Okay, thank you for joining us today. Some announcements are just that we have events scheduled throughout the week. You can find the schedule on the website dallasmeditationcenter.com. Also, we are entirely funded by donations, so any donations that you could make are greatly appreciated. I put the donation link in the chat to those who are present in this live meeting, and otherwise they will be posted in the information of any video that goes on YouTube. So look in the description of the video for ways that you can donate to the Dallas Meditation Center. So we'll close with the 4 vows of awakening beings. Countless beings we vow to free, ceaseless afflictions we vow to end, limitless truth doors we vow to open, the deepest paths of awakening we vow to realize. Thank you and be well.